everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're doing our second roll for Prideopoly. So this is a sort of like readathon challenge type of situation for the whole month of June because it is Pride Month. It is Prideopoly because it's going to be like a Monopoly sort of game. This was created by Beck Loves Books. I will leave them linked down below. And last week, the week before, I don't know, I was very excited to start this because I was slumping hard in May. I did my first roll and we picked my first book. And now it is time to pick our second book because this is a challenge that you have to do in order. In order to log your reads, you do have to read the books in order. So I only did one roll previously. And I think what I've decided to do with this is little book reviews before I get to the next roll. So we will like review the book that I read previously. And so in our last video, I rolled a 6, which means I had to read a book that was by an indie or small press. If I wanted to do expert mode, it also needed to be gay or Achillean. I don't think I'm doing expert mode, but the book I picked actually did fit for expert mode because I picked You and I Rewritten by Chip Pons. Now, I finished this yesterday. I actually read it all in one day because it's about 279 pages. I think I'm giving it 3 stars. I've been going back and forth between 2.5 or 3, and I do feel like in general I'm usually a little bit more generous with my ratings because for me personally this was not good. I wanted it to be so much more than it was. I will say, and they do tell you, this is the Rainbow Crate edition. In their nutrition facts, it does tell you that it is Insta-Love. And it is so much so that I really was missing that sort of like tension, the build-up, the relationship building that just didn't really seem to happen here. When I first started it, I thought the writing was pretty good. Like, I feel like the actual way these sentences are formed is nice. Like, I would be willing to try more by this author, but everything just felt a little bit too happy. After school special in a way, like everything just didn't feel like it had any sort of consequences. Everything was happy until it wasn't. There are some trigger warnings in here that I will mention because they are written in the book for alcoholism, death of a parent, panic attacks, parental abandonment, grief, PTSD, physical abuse, and military sexual trauma. Not all of those are super in your face. Some of them are more references. However, none of it gets even slightly mentioned until over 100 pages into here. And then it just sort of felt like everything happened at once. And so again, it was just a lot when it didn't really have that as much at the beginning. And like I said before, I was really wishing for more from the actual relationship and romantic buildup. Our two main characters here, so like our main character and our love interest, our main character has just started a new job in a New York publishing house. He has moved back to New York. It seems like he was somewhere else previously. He is now living with his best friend, Claire, with a K, which really bugged me as well. But he's living with his best friend. She also works there, and the love interest is like their direct supervisor, their boss. There is 100% insta-love. There is no like will they, won't they. There's no like he's my boss. What are we gonna do about this situation? It literally just like happens. And when it happens, it felt like everything was happening over a few weeks or, you know, like relatively early in the relationship and stuff. But at one point they mentioned that he's been working there for months. And I'm like, when did those months happen? Like there was a lot of stuff that just felt missing in a way, like a lot of telling instead of showing. Like there's a part actually early on in the book where Claire, who is also working in this area, is trying to like introduce Will, our main character, to everybody else and is like, hey, I'm going to have us do a team building exercise. I put together a scavenger hunt for everybody. And Will's like, oh no, this is going to be horrible. And then we skip to the next chapter and it's way after, and all we get is like, oh, I knew it was gonna be horrible. He had the worst time with me. But like, where was the actual scavenger hunt? Where was the character interactions to show us all the stuff that Will is now telling us? Will is telling us it was terrible. Will is telling us that Graham, his boss, who eventually falls in love with, hated working with him and stuff like that, but like, where did we see it? We didn't. It was not there. Like, I just really wanted to experience it more. We also have Graham having like two very different personalities. Like when he's first introduced, he's very like quiet and stern and work-oriented. And then as soon as he's in any sort of capacity with Will, without anybody there, even like the first time he meets him outside of work, he's a completely different person. And again, I just wished for more build-up and more explanations and more showing of all this stuff instead of just telling us stuff was happening. So again, it just felt like some stuff was very superficial. Like, I feel like the author had a lot of good ideas for this. The more I talk about it, the more I do think maybe it's a 2.5 for me, because again, my 3 is like, it was a book, it was fine. There might be things I didn't like or things that I did like or whatever. This just annoyed me in a way because of the different things that could have been, you know what I mean? So maybe this is closer to a 2.5. Like, I feel bad about it, but at the same time, it's my rating. I'm never going to like not tell you guys what I think about a book. So overall, I read a whole book in one day. I do think I skimmed over some parts, especially near the end, because it was just like, let's get to the point, because again, not showing me as much, like I wanted more. There's also, because this is the Rainbow Crate edition, an extra epilogue in here, which I don't think needed to be in there. I think the first epilogue was a pretty good stopping point. The second part of it was like 2 years later, different character's point of view, didn't add anything to it for me, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess 2.5. I'm hoping to get better books on our next roll, and so that's what we're going to be doing next. I'm going to change the camera so that we can follow along. We're going to roll our dice and we're going to see what my next prompt is going to be and then pick my next book. Okay, so here we have my little ghosty guy that I've been using for my piece. We are starting, obviously, at the indie and small press space that we have here. I have my 2d6 dice. Let's see, I have no idea what I want. I have not looked into the different spaces too much. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. With a trial or contest. Okay, that could be very, very good. I love some sort of trial situation, especially like if it's a magical trial. The expert mode for this would actually be a bisexual book with a trial or contest. I have no idea if I have the expert mode stuff, but again, even if I do, and even if I do pick expert mode, there's no guarantee that I'm gonna have expert mode stuff for everything else. So I think, again, I'm just doing this standard. If I can do expert mode, I will. Okay, so now I need to go look at what book we're going to read with a trial or a contest. Okay. This one took me a little bit longer because, again, I absolutely love magical trials and competitions and things like that, but I wasn't entirely too sure which of them are going to have queer characters. And like the thing is, we need the queer character to be like the main character, or the author needs to be queer as well. I found 2 books and I'm leaning more towards one than the other, but I just want to like sort of show you my thought process, obviously. So the first one that I have here is one that I remember having a contest in it, because I think Rainbow Crate, who is the one that did this one, also did this and posted it as one of their recommendations. They have a post on Instagram that they posted right before June started, saying that Outdrawn by Deanna Gray has a contest in it, and it for sure does. It's gonna have like an art contest. This is a workplace rivals to lovers sort of situation, I'm pretty sure. And if you go into their nutrition facts, obviously, the representation is Black characters, and then one is lesbian and one is bisexual, because we have 50% of each. They're also showing that we have representation for carpal tunnel syndrome, as well as potentially a side character who is gay, because it only has 10% for that. It is new adult contemporary. Plot is rivals to lovers, workplace romance, hot girls riding motorcycles, and art competition, and it's 100% adult. This is a 320-page book, so a very standard romance size. This could be very doable for me. However, it is contemporary romance. Same with this one. Completely different authors, so not to say that this is going to be like not as good or anything like that. I love the art style on here. This is another one that has the original art underneath. So they just have like a special dust jacket on it. So like this could 100% be something I read. However, I'm leaning more towards The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. This is one that somebody else posted for expert mode recommendations because apparently this does have a bi main character and it's gonna have more magical trials, which is more of what I was looking for. However, this is over 600 pages, so it is definitely something that's going to take me longer to read, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but the fact that I wanted to get into reading more, like, I should pick this one. But at the same time, I'm not leaning toward the contemporary contest stuff as much as magical contest and trials. And so this one says, after 24 years on the throne, it is time for Burson the Brusque, Emperor of Orun, to bring his reign to an end. In the dizzying heat of midsummer, 7 contenders will compete to replace him. Trained at rival monasteries, each contender is inspired by a sacred animal: fox, raven, tiger, ox, bear, monkey, and hound. An 8th, the dragon proxy, will be revealed once the trials have begun. 8 exceptional warriors, thinkers, strategists, the best of the best. Then one of them is murdered. It falls to the brilliant but idiosyncratic Nima Craw to investigate. But as she hunts for a killer, darker forces are gathering. If Nima succeeds, she could win the throne whether she wants it or not. But if she fails, she will sentence herself to death and set in motion a sequence of events that could doom the empire. I think this is the first in a series. I actually don't know how many. I love the cover on this one. Like, it's gorgeous. Like, even though it is a huge book, like, it feels like a very big undertaking, I think this is the one we're going to pick. So it could be a little while before we see my next roll, but this is the one that I think we're going with. Magical Trials, according to the recommendations I have seen, this does have apparently at least a bi character, but it should be queer as well. So, okay, I've done it. I've made the decision. We're gonna go with this one. The next time I come back for more rolls, I will let you know what I thought of it, and we'll go from there. But that is going to be it for today. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I have videos coming out every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so I will see you then. Bye.